Hello, fellow homebrewers. JP here, and I want to introduce to you the brand new Brew-Built X1 Conical Series available at More Beer. More Beer sells the highest standard in homebrewing equipment, and the Brew-Built Conicals are just that. They're made from mirror-polished 304 stainless steel, and they come with loads of features that you and I have been looking for. They have a full 2-inch bottom dump valve, which will eliminate your clogging issues, while the sturdy base includes 4 reinforced legs, just like those big Pro tanks do. More Beer also carries the Brew-Built line of options and add-ons like casters, pressure kits, and even external glycol chillers. So you can find out more about the new Brew-Built X1 Conical Unitanks by going over to morebeer.com for detailed videos on the entire line of Brew-Built Conicals. You can trust Brew-Built with your next fermentation, and you can trust More Beer to find the right conical for you. Brew-Built at morebeer.com.
Today's special edition of The Session was actually recorded about a month ago, but things are still a little crazy around here at the Hop Grenade and the Brewing Network, so I'm just getting around to posting this for you. But we got a chance to speak with Gary Glass, the director of the American Homebrewers Association, and he talks to us about HomebrewCon online this year, since all major events on the planet were canceled. So he talks to us about doing that, which you can still do this weekend, as a matter of fact. Just go to homebrewcon.org and check it out. And we also get to speak with Brian Cooper and Oleg Shpirko, who were both running for regional rep positions at the BJCP. Enjoy the program, and thanks for sticking with us. We keep trying to get back on a regular schedule here at the Brewing Network, and I'm hoping to get to do that soon. But for now, we're still a little erratic, so I appreciate your patience and for you hanging out with us. All right, now to the show. Hi, guys. Welcome to the show. We're here for another live session that I bumbled the beginning, and we are joined by my friend and today co-host, Jamil Zainasheff from Heretic Brewing Company. Welcome back, Jamil.
Hey, glad to be here.
And we've also got Gary Glass from the American Homebrewers Association on with us from live from Colorado. Hi, Gary.
Yeah, great to be joining you.
Very nice to see you again. Broadcasting from home, I assume?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Gotten to know my house better than I ever have.
Like all of us, right? And Jamil, looks like you're probably at the brewery, so you're still working a bit.
I'm at the brewery.
Yeah. And Gary, if I had to guess, you're probably working more than ever. You're just working from home right now.
That would be a good guess. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm working from home and working a lot.
That's been my experience so far, too. I have not been able to relate to this bored at home scenario yet. And I'm not complaining about that. It just seems that there's a lot to do to not only make up for what's happening and sort of some of the inefficiencies by not being in the normal routine, but just a lot to do. And one of those things we're here to talk about today, because you guys have had to completely rearrange HomebrewCon around this.
Right. Yeah. I mean, bringing 3,000 people together in Nashville just wasn't going to work out this year.
Yeah.
So thankfully, like if there was ever a time for coronavirus to sweep through the world, now we have things like Crowdcast and Zoom and WebEx and all these things. So we were able to pivot and provide some of what people would experience with HomebrewCon, just in a more virtual experience.
So I'm super glad that you bring that up too, just about that we're sort of lucky or fortuitous that this technology exists now. In one of my other interviews, I was kind of saying that, you know, even 10 years ago, I wouldn't have been able to build an online store overnight like I did here at the Hop Grenade. You know, I would have had to hire Jamil or another programmer to come do it. And yeah, now all of these things are so easy, right, Jay-Z? It didn't used to be this way.
Oh, yeah. But, you know, one of the things you're saying is the reason we're all so busy is because we've had to shift our businesses and we've had to, you know, reinvent ourselves overnight. And yes, you know, there's more and more software and opportunities to make these things happen, but it's been a challenge, but yeah, 10 years ago, no way we could have done this.
Yeah, you're right. It doesn't make the tasks easier per se, or you know, easier to transition like that. But at least it's possible, right, with the technology now. So, well, and Gary, before we talk about HomebrewCon, because I'm very interested in how this is going to change. I wanted to first talk about homebrewing with you in general. in my limited discussion with homebrewers and homebrew shops right now, I'm getting the sense, and you could even guess this was happening, that there's a bit of a surge in homebrewing right now. I would think because people are at home and they kind of have some time to do it again.
Yeah, we're seeing the same thing. We're in the homebrew shop owners that I've talked to, most of whom are experiencing increasing business. Certainly the online retailers are doing quite well. The brick and mortar stores, it's more of a mixed bag. They're something we did a quick poll of shops, and 77% of the respondents said that they had shifted to curbside pickup, and for some of them that's working out well. They've got their existing customers are brewing more often. I know I've spent more money at my local homebrew shop in the last 2 months, probably any 2-month period ever in my life. But not all the stores. I mean, not being able to allow people into their stores for some of those businesses has not worked out that well, and so they're seeing business being down. Some stores near you, I know the beverage people actually got shut down by the local officials.
For what, do you know? Just that they weren't considered essential?
Yeah, I guess the local government did not consider them essential, even though by state standards, most of the shops in the state are open, and most stores actually do have a grocer's license because they're selling food products.
Food product, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know what county that was in by chance?
Sonoma.
Yeah. So we do have the Bay Area counties have pretty much stuck together, but there are some outliers like that. And when I was talking to the guys at More Beer, by the way, thank you, More Beer, for bringing us this show and every show that we do. They were saying that the owners kept asking, aren't we supposed to be closed? Aren't we? They didn't want to be, but they were trying to make sure they were following the law. And they kept getting told over and over, no, you're essential. You're absolutely essential. That's here in Contra Costa. I think they're still Contra Costa County. Anyhow,
well, it's the same thing for us making beer. We're like, well, should we be closed? It's like, no. You're considered a food product. And, come to think about it, when people go in and pick up their 10 cases of toilet paper, maybe they want to pick up a case of beer at the same time and, drown their misery or whatever, some normalcy to their lives.
Absolutely. So I guess my understanding, I wasn't in California at the time of the initial shutdown, but even breweries were shut down initially, but then very quickly got deemed essential was what I thought happened. Jamil, was that your experience, or did you never shut down?
No, we never shut down. It was the ones that got shut down were the ones with just a tap room, and they had no way of selling it. If what we were producing was beer to go to like grocery stores. That we were still producing. And then we were able to do to-go sales out of our tap room.
Okay.
But if you didn't have a restaurant license, if you didn't have a full kitchen, you couldn't even do the to-go for a lot of people.
I see. Okay. Yeah. What a strange. And then it's just different everywhere. How about in Colorado, Gary? Were homebrew shops allowed to stay open there?
Yeah. Most of the homebrew shops here have stayed open. If they closed, it was by choice, but most of the stores have stayed open. And I think most of the stores that I'm familiar with are doing fairly good business. I know my local store in Longmont, they said March was their biggest month in 5 years. So,
wow.
I think but again, it is kind of hit and miss. We have an industry subcommittee on the AHA governing committee, and talking to the major distributors for the homebrew supply shops, they said that the majority of the stores they supply were seeing increases in sales.
Okay,
and I think it's a combination of things. You've got existing homebrewers who are stuck at home. By the way, I've never been so glad to be a homebrewer in my entire life. I've got something to do on the weekends. It's it's great. And I like I said, I've never brewed so much in my life. But they said they indicated that most of the stores they service are seeing increases in business, and it's their existing customers are brewing more often. A lot of former homebrewers who haven't been brewing in a long time starting up again. And then, thankfully we're also seeing some new homebrewers get into the hobby. I'll tell you, I've never seen so much media attention for homebrewing as we've seen
really
over the past couple of months. Yeah. I've been doing more media interviews than I probably did in all of that last year. And in fact, the impressions that we got from the media coverage that came through the AHA, we had I think it was, I've got it right there, 439 million impressions. That's 50 million more than we got in all of 2019.
Wow.
Just in the month of April.
That's awesome, though. I love this.
So it's great. And I mean, I think that's one of the important factors about having an organization like the American Home Brewers Association. We can be a clearinghouse for those media inquiries. There's some place to go, and we can push those messages out there. And at a time like this, we can be encouraging people through the media to get into homebrewing.
Yeah.
And that's good for homebrew shops, that's good for homebrew clubs, and that's good for the AHA.
And it makes sense because the news, honestly, is they're looking for something else to talk about, some silver lining, even in my brewer interviews, I try to do that, not just focus on what went wrong, but focus on what could be going right. We just need to talk, about other things also. So that's awesome.
My first interview, the COVID related interview, was actually with a fantasy sports talk show on Sirius XM.
Nice.
They didn't have sports to talk about. So,
yeah, of course.
What can we talk about? Like, man,
beer.
So
yeah.
they looked us up, found me, and
that's hilarious. I love this. So, I did a talk with a homebrew club earlier this week. They asked me to, when I was supposed to be traveling on the road, I was going to come do it in person, but they've taken their homebrew club meetings to Zoom. By the way, homebrew clubs out there, it was super fun to be involved in a club meeting like that, and they were all participating. Jamil, I know you've done some of those recently.
Yep. It's a load of fun.
Yeah, great. So they're still having their monthly meetings, which I thought was cool. And then, I was kind of talking about what we're discussing now and this feeling that I had that homebrewing was on the rise. And I went a little further to say that I think the trend is going to stick around afterward, too, for a few reasons. Kind of reigniting the passion of brewers who maybe hadn't brewed in a while. Like you said, some of those are the customers coming back. But I think that some of the results in a broad sense of this happening are kind of back to a little more self-reliance. As we kind of see some of the supply chains break down a little bit, I feel like that DIY mentality is amplified in us. And that's what I think is also going to help carry homebrewing, to another level. I think it's going to continue after this because that feeling of wanting to do things for ourselves will kind of linger on, It's my impression.
Well, it's making people realize that the zombie apocalypse may happen and you may need to have your brewing skills all honed to stay alive. So
exactly.
There you go.
Exactly. Gary, how many batches of brew would you say you've done during this time?
Like 6 or 7.
See, that's a lot.
2 weeks. Well, not 2 weeks, like last 2 months.
Yeah. Well, and you were always an avid home brewer, so exception to the rule here, maybe, but that's a lot.
Yeah, but I travel a lot, so I don't always have those opportunities to be brewing as much as I'd like to, and so it is one of those kind of side benefits of like I don't know how many trips I've canceled in the past couple of months. I would have been in San Antonio for Craft Brewers Conference for a week, and
sure,
so that's definitely impacted my ability to brew. But yeah, I've tried out new styles that I haven't brewed before. I've tried a lot of new things, and it's kind of gotten me excited about it. And so I don't see me dropping off. I mean, maybe when I can get out and visit my local breweries, I might not be brewing quite as much, but
right.
I think I'll probably be brewing more than I would have been otherwise.
Yeah.
I think you need to spend some of this time inventing a brew kit that you can take with you in your luggage and brew in your hotel room.
Yeah.
So you're always making beer.
We did a story in Zymergy years ago about making beer with a coffee maker.
Oh,
like a hotel room coffee maker.
Right.
Yeah. Nice. And then just fermenting in the tub like you're in prison.
In a toilet.
Yeah.
Come on.
Whatever.
You got to hide it from the maid. So you do it in a bag and you snake it down the toilet.
Yeah.
That's how it's done.
Gary, your favorite beer that you've brewed during this time?
I think the coolest thing I did was
A recipe from Brewing Classic Styles. Yes. Come on.
Actually, the recipe was from Brewing Classic Styles. No joke.
Wow. Love it.
I did the Irish Stout recipe, which isn't like a particular favorite of mine, but whenever I do something that I haven't done before or haven't done in a long time, I use Brewing Classic Styles because honestly, those recipes you can't go wrong with.
Takes out the variables just for the recipe part, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I use that book a lot. But I brewed this Irish Stout. As you guys probably know, my wife works for Lallemand, so I have a refrigerator dedicated to yeast that
Nice.
I can use it anytime I want.
Yeah.
They have a new Kvike strain, the Lallemand Boss. Used that as kind of an experiment to see if I could go from grain to glass in a week.
Okay. Yeah.
And I did.
And
at 98 degrees, less than 48 hours of fermentation, crash cooled it.
Wow.
I actually could have gotten it into a keg and carbonated it in less time, but
wow.
I don't have that much time during the week. So.
And you were happy with how it came out, the fermentation profile?
It came out really good.
Okay.
Yeah. It's very clean. It's got a unique ester to it. It's got a lemony, almost like a lemon balm ester, but it's subtle and it came out really good.
Nice. Yeah, that's cool. Jamil, I know we have it on your list whenever we have time to get to it. Brew Strong at some point has to do a full Kvike show, don't we?
I'm sorry. A full what?
Kvike yeast show.
Oh, Kvike. Yeah.
We gotta wait. We gotta wait for Jamil to find time to use it himself. Have you used it in the brewery yet, Jamil?
We have. I think a couple of years ago, Tasty had brought back some samples from Norway.
Oh yeah,
he was there, and he turned them over to us, and we grew them up in the lab, and we did some flavor profiling and did some data on them, and then we determined which ones we liked, and then we did a collab with Hidden Mother Brewing.
Oh yeah,
and then we used it there and had a lot of fun with it.
Nice.
It's interesting strains. I don't like all of them, but of the ones that we tried, I definitely like 2 or 3 of them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I found the resulting beers hit or miss myself too. Had some great ones that I wouldn't even have known it was a different yeast or a different fermentation, and then others that I thought, wow, this tastes like it was fermented a little bit warm. So got to have good yeast, right? Lallemand, apparently. Okay, well, I want to find out about HomebrewCon, mostly because I need something HomebrewCon related to get me excited again, because I can't tell you how excited I was to go to Nashville.
Me too. I had a whole road trip from Houston to Nashville with 5 friends, and we were going to hit a bunch of breweries. It was a whole big thing.
Oh, so fired up. I was going to go to music at night and, the food. And then I love it when I always enjoy HomebrewCon. I haven't missed one since we started the Brewing Network 15 years ago. But I like them even more when they're in such a cool city. Like, every city's different. I really loved Grand Rapids. I didn't think that would be on my top list. It totally is. Sometimes you're surprised. But Nashville was going to be no surprise. So I was just fired up about that. So what have you done? Or maybe, Gary, what happened? At what point did you guys have to say, hey, this is not going to happen?
Well, I mean, we were certainly monitoring the situation with the local government, we had kind of determined that it probably wasn't going to happen a while back, because
safe bet.
Really, I got to the point where I was like, I just don't feel comfortable not only putting our members at potential risk, but am I really going to ask my staff to do this?
Right.
So and then we had the local government was reluctant to say that events of our size were absolutely banned. So trying to work with the hotel to, and they did come around and like finally to the point even before the government said no way.
Yeah.
This isn't a good idea.
Right.
And it probably won't even be legal at the time that we're going to host it.
And I guess I ask it that way because to me, it doesn't seem like that long ago that we were still even thinking, oh, June, it's way down there. We're going to get through this thing. That doesn't seem that far ago. Whereas now it seems obvious we're not doing anything in June or July or, so.
Yeah. I mean, for a long time, and it was super stressful because we were thinking, all right, well, we want to do it, but is it the right thing to do? And it was a strange kind of a cathartic moment when we finally got to an agreement with the hotel to cancel it, and like feeling a sense of relief, which seemed very strange to be relieved to be canceling our event.
But I understand.
But by that point, we did know that we were going to be able to do an online version of HomebrewCon. So there was that aspect of it, like, okay, we could finally move in this direction that we've been thinking we were going to have to go anyway. So, it was very strange, but yeah, I mean, I totally agree. Like, I was so excited about Nashville. We've had the Brewers Association had Craft Brewers Conference there a while back, and I've been there a number of times, and I love that city, and I'm super hopeful that we'll be able to do it in Nashville again at some point in the future.
Great.
But also really grateful that it's not having to cancel the live event is not the end of HomebrewCon for 2020. That we do have this opportunity to do HomebrewCon online. So I'm very excited that we have something that we can offer to our members that is it's HomebrewCon-esque.
Yes. Okay. So I want to talk about that, but I do just want to touch on the one thing you said, because one thing I've been trying to do with these shows is to relate to people and how we're kind of in this together. And I just want to comment on you saying that kind of feeling of relief and how that does seem awkward to say or almost wrong to say, but there's so many points during this where the amount of unknowns is so great that's the real anxiety, and it's the real like discomfort sometimes. That sometimes the fear of all the different unknowns is much greater than the fear of the virus itself. And so just getting some of those questions answered is a relief. So knowing that you could move down a path instead of thinking of the 10 different paths you guys might have to go, like to finally have a path. I'm experiencing that now as they're starting to release what it might look like for my bar to be open in California. They finally gave the guidelines. And I've been saying, like, I don't care what the guidelines are. I'll stand on my head and do jumping jacks, but I want to know what they are because I'm the anxiety of the unknown. So I really think everybody can probably relate that you even had relief at the cancellation, Mm-hmm. So you guys then, you had already explored and you decided, okay, we're doing virtual HomebrewCon. So tell me about this.
Right. Yeah. So we'll be doing it over the same dates, June 18th through the 20th, that we had planned for Nashville. We've got 20 live sessions that we'll be using Crowdcast for, and so able to really pick and choose. I mean, we had a stellar lineup of speakers. We had 68 sessions planned for HomebrewCon, so we had to narrow that down to 20. So I do have to say that it is a pretty awesome lineup of speakers, and Jamil is one of those speakers. And I know we roped you, Justin, into helping out with it as well.
I'm excited.
Yeah. So, and we got our planned keynote, Bailey Spalding from Jackalope Brewing Company, female homebrewer who started a brewery. Really great story. I'm so excited that she's going to be doing the keynote for us. And then we are also able to incorporate not just the educational aspects of HomebrewCon, but a lot of the social part as well. So we were doing the happy hours that you're going to be involved with.
Yeah.
So we'll have some homebrew celebrities and some craft beer celebrities as well that people will get to hang out and drink beer with.
Yeah.
And then we also have the expo side of things. We're doing a virtual expo, so people will be able to interact with some of the vendors that we would normally have for HomebrewCon. And then some of the sponsors are going to be doing some demonstrations of their products and presentations on the things that they do. So,
all right, let me try to wrap my head around this, because I'm picturing it in my head, but at the same time I'm confused. But I'm guessing then through this software, you're going to have several virtual rooms that we can choose to enter. So the expo would be like, oh, I can enter this room and speak to these people, or I can exit that one and enter another one. Is that what we're talking about here?
Not exactly. There'll be certain time frames for each vendor. So like 20-minute slots in which you can go and visit with that particular manufacturer or ingredient producer. And there will be an opportunity for people to actually ask questions and see their products and things like that. So it's
got it.
Yeah,
but
I'm still not quite entirely sure what it's all going to look like. But we'll also have on the HomebrewCon website, people will be able to see some of the products, and they'll be able to embed some videos and things like that. So you can get some experience of some of the equipment and ingredients that you would normally be seeing in the expo at HomebrewCon.
Got it. So the agenda itself will look a lot like it does when I'm on site. When you guys hand me my welcome kit, and I've got every day and every speaker and the hours of the expo, it'll look just like that, except I get to do it from home in my underwear.
Right. Yeah. I mean, the downside is that you can't be drinking somebody else's beer, but the upside is the pajamas thing.
It's a big downside for Justin not to be able to drink somebody else's beer.
It really is, because I don't homebrew.
It's like,
yeah. It's going to cost me more money, Gary. I got to drink the beer that I'm supposed to be selling here at the Hop Grenade. So, Jamil, I'll be doing some curbside pickup on June 17th, it looks like.
So, all right.
So that I'm ready for this. And so then I was talking with Catherine Porter there at the Brewers Association, a wonderful human being, in my opinion, about, you guys it's really important to you to try to have some of the social aspect too, which I'm so glad. And of course, you guys are thinking about that. You know what you're doing. And Jamil, that's, it's the best part of some of the best parts of HomebrewCon, isn't it? Getting to...
For me, that's the thing about HomebrewCon is, interacting with my friends, seeing people that, I've only seen at the conference over the years, but have become such dear friends that we really look forward to seeing each other each year. And I tell you, there's something out to get me, and I've done something wrong, and karma has made it so I can't attend the conference anymore.
Oh yeah, because last year
my wife she texted me, told me she was in the hospital.
Yeah,
and I was I was there at the conference. I was in the hotel, and I had to grab a cab to Boston and jump on a plane and get out of there.
Yeah, I didn't even see you. By the way, folks at home, Liz Zainasheff is fine now, right?
Yes. Yeah, she's doing great.
But yeah, so you had to miss because of that. Wow, do you think Liz started COVID too? She's just trying to keep you out of...
It could be. She was coughing. I think, around December. I remember she was coughing.
Patient 0, maybe?
Will be. Patient 1.
Yeah.
COVID Mary.
Well, so I know that you guys were focused on the social part. So we're doing a couple of happy hours that I am I'm so lucky to get to host, and we're going to bring in some homebrewers and celebrity homebrewers and brewers, and we're going to show some videos, and we're going to just try to have this social aspect, at least for a short period of time, so that we can have some some community and some fun with it, because what would HomebrewCon be without some fun, right? So I'm excited.
It would be absolutely wrong if HomebrewCon was not fun.
Yeah. We're all just staring at each other like on this show. We can't do that. We got to have some fun. Jamil, what's your talk that you're giving?
Really,
You don't know yet, do you?
Lazy. And so what I do is I convince the AHA that they should allow me and some of my friends, John Palmer and Brad Smith, that we could just answer questions from the audience. And, I think between the three of us, we have a pretty good chance of answering 50 to 52% of all the questions accurately.
Right.
I'm there. Yeah.
You have been lazy since show number 4, Jamil. I swear to God.
Brewing Network taught me to be lazy. I think
it's part of the ethos,
the
man.
amount of work that went into the 14 years of shows is now, I'm just following my leader. Your work goes down, my work goes down. It's just
100%. I agree with this.
So, if I don't have to prepare a presentation, if all I've got to do is respond to questions, I'm in there. I'm good to go.
Love this. So that's just one of the panels. You said you have something like 26. Is that what you said, Gary?
20 sessions.
20 sessions. Okay. Mm-hmm. Excellent. And then a couple of happy hours, because I think we're doing 2 nights worth of happy hours. So different guests for that. And I guess we'll probably publish more information about all of this as we have it. But Gary, so who's eligible to go? Had people already bought tickets and to HomebrewCon? How does this work?
Yeah. So we're charging $99 for AHA members, and then we do have an option for non-members to get their registration and a membership at a discounted price.
Cool.
So that's $132.
Okay. Yeah.
So then you get access to all the sessions, all the social aspects of it, and then with the service we're using, the sessions will be recorded, and they're available within minutes after the sessions end. So anybody who's registered for the conference will have access to those throughout the rest of the year. And
excellent.
In 2021, as we usually do, we'll make the recordings available to all members.
That's very cool. Probably except for the happy hours, because I charge a very high royalty fee. So you got to tune in live to watch me on the happy hour. Otherwise, forget it. Yeah, Gary,
and that's an experience. Watching Justin drink,
watch me screw up live with important people like Ken Grossman or.
That becomes a lot of fun. I can tell you over the years, yes, definitely, it's worth paying for.
The more important the guest, the larger the foot in my mouth becomes. That never changes.
I've been fortunate that you've never charged me to sit down and drink a beer with you.
I like you though, Gary. I charge Jamil the beer. He has to bring the beer.
There you go. There's a reason I'm invited.
So people can go to, let's see, I had it pulled up on my computer.
HomebrewCon.org?
Just the regular old HomebrewCon.org as usual, and you can still register there. Is there a cap like there would have been at a physical location?
I think the cap is something like 10,000.
Okay, so we're good. So Homebrew isn't surging that much right now.
Hopefully we sell out next week.
That would be awesome. Yeah. Can I ask this, and I ask this so that members know and maybe homebrewers know if this very important organization, the American Homebrewers Association, needs our help, needs us to rally behind them. With the canceling of events like this, are you guys financially okay? Is anybody worried? Do we need to do a member drive? I'm not trying to put you on the spot. I think homebrewers care.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that. Actually, we had to cancel a national homebrew competition as well as HomebrewCon, the on-site HomebrewCon in Nashville. That's a major financial hit for us.
Yeah,
and not only that, we're a division of the Brewers Association. Brewers Association had to cancel the Craft Brewers Conference. It's our single biggest revenue generator.
Yeah.
Along with the World Beer Cup, Savor. We just announced today that we're taking Great American Beer Festival. We're going to do the competition, but we're not going to do the in-person festival.
Okay.
So, we've taken a very significant financial hit, and actually we laid off 23% of the Brewers Association staff a couple weeks ago.
Okay.
So, we're we're going to make it through. But yeah, it's a very tough time for us.
So then, I am just a fan. I have worked so closely with the Homebrewers Association really since our very first year. And then very shortly after that, the Brewers Association as well. Both of those organizations are so near and dear to my heart, and I know a lot about them. So I feel like I'm qualified to say if there was ever a time to sign up to be a member, to renew your membership, and I'm talking to pro brewers as well, homebrewers and pro brewers. Now's the time to do it. The Homebrewers Association has just been there for us year in and year out, and the work that you guys do behind the scenes is so incredibly important for homebrewers. You pro brewers out there, I'm privy to some of the work happening by the Brewers Association, working on legislation, discussions they're having with politicians on your behalf, and talking about relief and how important the industry is. And so, the best way you can support that is to make sure you remain a member or become a member. And so, that's from the bottom of my heart, viewers, because the Homebrew Association is just such a great organization for homebrewing, and it's really not that expensive, and you get so much out of it. So sign up, and you can get the discount by attending Virtual HomebrewCon, and then a discounted membership that way too. So, Jamel, I'm sure you agree. The Homebrew Association has been so integral in your life and career, too.
Yeah, absolutely. Since the beginning, when I started, one of the greatest assets to me, learning to brew and, becoming part of the community was being part of the Brewers Association, the Homebrew, the AHA. And, I was all in. Like I said earlier, I have every issue of Zymergy, and it was an important resource to me. And then the homebrew conferences and the competition and all that, it really exercised me as a home brewer, and and brought me a lot of friendship, people that I hold dear to my heart to this day.
Yeah.
And, it's really been a great value to me. I was part of the governing committee for, I don't know how many years. I guess I
had to kick you off, I think.
Stint.
Yeah.
9 years, right?
You termed out. Yeah.
And, I've, always gone to the homebrew conference, and, I couldn't think of a more worthy organization for us to support, because, fundamentally, what we do as homebrewers, they're in there working towards, making it better, making it, legal in all 50 states. I mean, not that they actually did the legislation, but they're supporting the people who are. They're doing a lot of that footwork that makes all that possible. So
yeah.
That's really important to me. And then as a pro brewer, the Brewers Association, still, it's kind of like I'm still there. I'm still, a member of the Home Brewers Association. Always will be.
Yeah.
I have a lifetime membership. So
attaboy.
Go until the day I die. Which, who knows?
Yeah.
Might be next week. Might be next year. Maybe 50 years from now. I may outlive all of you.
At least stick around until June.
Right.
2021, June 2021. Now our road trip, instead of Houston to Nashville, is Houston to San Diego.
There we go. I like it.
It's all of a sudden double the length of my trip. So I don't know. It's twice the number of breweries.
Well, so folks, I don't mind saying this too. I think there's two great ways you can go sign up for the AHA. One is to get your ticket to Virtual HomebrewCon, and then you get a discount. The other way is you can go right to thebrewingnetwork.com and click on the AHA link right on the left side. It'll take you over to the AHA page. Actually helps out the Brewing Network just a little bit, and then you guys get a great membership. It helps out the Brewers Association. You can help out all your favorite brewing organizations in one shot. So register today at homebrewcon.org. Of course, homebrewersassociation.org is always there as well. You guys have been putting out some good content lately. I watch what you're doing, and I get the emails, and I like what your team's doing there, Gary. Good stuff.
Yeah, I mean, we're very passionate about what we do, and so we want to make sure we're providing as much benefit for our members as we possibly can. And I appreciate all that you've said about the association, but I think once people do join, they may choose to support for the reasons you guys mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
but I think that anybody who does join will find the value there. And so, you don't have to do it for a warm, fuzzy reason. Do it because you're going to get a lot out of it.
It pays for itself.
The discount program alone is incredible.
It pays for itself.
Yeah, it's really good. The Hop Grenade is a discount member. You can bring in your AHA card here, even while we're doing to go. And I know that Heretic is as well. So, that alone is.
If you like drinking beer and eating food and brewing beer, the AHA membership pays for itself.
Yeah.
And discounts. That's it.
Right. I feel like I should just now flash something on the screen that says it too, because it's just so obvious. Just sign up. It's an obvious thing to do. Okay. Well, homebrewcon.org is the place to go for virtual HomebrewCon. I'm excited about it. I will keep our viewers and listeners up to date, Gary. You guys, as you pass on information to me, I'm excited to do my part. And I actually have a call with Nancy tomorrow about the Great American Beer Festival Awards. So I'm excited that the Brewing Network will get to be a part of keeping that alive, too. And so the Brewing Network can be one of your sources for all that information, or just go sign up to be an AHA member. Gary, thanks, man. Keep brewing a bunch of beer.
Thank you. And I will.
Brew stuff that ages for a little while so that I can drink it next when I'm allowed to come back to Colorado.
I brewed a Baltic Porter out of brewing classic style. It's delicious, but it needs to age a little bit. So.
Perfect. Yeah, I need to find reasons to come back to Colorado. You know, we closed our Hop Grenade there in December.
I know.
And I'm not going to lie. I had this thought the other day. I was like, shit. I wish COVID had come just a little bit earlier. It would have been a lot cheaper to break my lease. It's right now. I'm a terrible person, a terrible human being, but that thought did cross my mind. So give me, that's a good reason to come back.
You want me to scope out some space in Longmont? Preferably within walking distance of my house.
Stumbling distance, as we like to call it sometimes. Yeah. Keep an eye out for me. Absolutely, Gary.
Yeah. Actually, I've got just the place for you. I'll send you the address.
Send me an address. As soon as I'm done going broke, I'll be back on my feet again.
Garage, Longmont, Colorado.
Yeah. Hop Grenade edition. Gary's Garage. All right, Gary. Say hello. Say hello to Aaron for us.
But we could make it work.
Yeah, you have sway with the legislators there. I'm sure of it. Okay, I've got to get us on to our next segment. We're going to take a little break here on the video feed, which means the video feed will stop for those of you watching. But in just a few minutes, we're going to come back and we're going to talk to two BJCP regional candidates to be a regional rep for the BJCP. We're going to be talking to Brian and Oleg, and Jamil's going to help us learn all about what the BJCP does and what a regional rep does. So stay tuned, and we'll be back. Gary Glass, thank you so much for your time today, and I'm really looking forward to seeing you virtually in June.
Yeah, always a pleasure. Thank you for having me on, and great talking with you.
All right, guys. We'll be back in just a few minutes, everybody. All right. Boys and girls, we are back live. Myself from the studio, Jamil from Heretic Brewing Company. Brian, looks like you're at your house in, Livermore?
Scenic Livermore, California, yes.
Somewhere where the crows go to rest.
Yeah.
This is my shed, a.k.a. the barn.
The barn, I like it. You've got a nice yard there. And then we've got Oleg Shpirko he's from San Diego right now, right? That's where you're broadcasting.
That's right. I'm in San Diego right now.
Yeah. Well, thanks for joining us. I appreciate it very much. Brian had reached out to me. Of course, Brian very generously does the Dr. Homebrew podcast here on the Brewing Network and is a highly decorated BJCP judge. What level are you now? Grandmaster Theft? I forget what.
Grand Theft Master, yes. I haven't graded enough points or gotten enough graded enough exams or gotten enough points to be Grandmaster 2, and I it may be a little while yet before that ever happens, but it's like my wife said, yeah, do you get a fez with that, or a little car?
Right. Yeah, you should.
No, that's the Shriners. Like, I joined the wrong organization.
Yeah, whoops. How long have you been a BJCP judge, Brian?
Since 2008.
Okay.
So yeah, I started brewing in 2002 and got an interest in judging. And my buddy Dave Teckham helped. He's like, "Oh, you're interested in beer judging? you can do it. And he helped us organize a group, and we ran, a dozen people through the program, and I was hooked. So
excellent.
Just worked my way up through the ranks and kept it going. So
got it. And Oleg, you are obviously a BJCP judge as well. What level are you? I'm curious.
So I'm a master level judge. I got cider and I just got my meat endorsement. So I'm drinking meat to celebrate that. So
nice.
Excellent. So you
got more endorsements than me.
So you guys have both been nominated, and that's what happens. You get endorsements to become a nominee for what is called a regional BJCP representative, right? Is that what the position?
You get something like 5 endorsements from people, other judges to say that they're somebody that should be on the ballot, on the ticket.
Okay.
Yeah, you can nominate yourself, or someone else can nominate you for the position. Then you have to accept and seek out those endorsements. So
okay. And so you guys are going for the West region rep, and is it the two of you head to head, toe to toe?
Yeah.
Okay.
There we go. just the two of us. Some of the other regions have 3 or so. It's really active this year. There look like good races. I've been reading some of the candidate statements, and you can go on there. If you're a judge, you can go on there and vote now. I mean, wait until you finish listening to the show anyway. But if you're not in our region, go read those candidate statements, and people talk about what they want to do for the program, and see who you agree with the most.
Yeah.
It's a member-driven organization, and one of the things, it means a lot that people are willing to step up and take these roles and help drive the organization. Without people dedicating their time and energy to all the work that goes into making an organization this large go for free, they're not getting paid to do this. It's something that people are willing to do this and help out.
So, and if you're a home brewer, you should join BJCP and become a judge. Even if you're not home brewer, but you like beer, something about beer, you should join BJCP and become a judge.
Or meat or cider.
Or meat or cider, exactly.
Well, for me, one of the things that the BJCP did for me is, just when I first started out, somebody asked me about judging, and then, showed me the style guides, and that became my Bible for learning to brew. I was like, okay, I need to understand every one of these styles. I need to taste every one of these beers. I need to be able to brew one of these beers. And so that became my guide. And it really did help me immensely. And then all the other people in the program, once you, kind of get involved, people are willing to help you, help train you and, educate you. And that was priceless to me.
And the amount you get to learn by becoming a judge, you learn about beer, you learn about your palate, you learn about the things that. So I've never become a BJCP judge, as our listeners well know, because I'm likely the laziest person in home brewing. But I can relate a little bit, because one of the most I've ever learned about tasting beer and my own palate and being able to describe beer was when I first met Jamil, and we would spend time tasting beer, and I would express to him what I was tasting, and then he would help me say, okay,
beer, good.
It was very simple. But he would help me understand, like, yeah, okay, I taste that too. Here's what it actually is. And I would get to learn what those flavors were called, if they were off flavors, if they were good, rather than just, using rudimentary language like beer good. And becoming a BJCP judge is tenfold that. Is really a formal training in just that, right? So.
Yeah. Some of the real fun is going through the Zeeble kit, and you taste like Bud Light and Bud Light dosed with diacetyl or, acetaldehyde, all these different things. And I've done that so many times now. And even still, sometimes you get it and it's hard to pick it out. They're a little above threshold, and you kind of find out where your weaknesses and strengths are, what you detect super easily. And other people are like, what? There's butter in there?
Yeah.
And what you can, just miss because you have a blind spot, kind of.
Sure. And then, of course, becoming a judge helps the hobby, because there's a lot of homebrewing competitions out there that homebrewers love, and they're always short on judges. So don't use my excuse.
I'd say if you're complaining about, the quality of the judging sheets you get back, well, have you signed up to be a judge? Are you judging? Are you helping with competitions? Are you at least stewarding? If you're not doing that stuff, then, stop complaining the quality of sheets, you could contribute to and make it better.
And it could help you become a better homebrewer ultimately, right? And even though I still have problems with judging my own beer that I brewed because there is so much emotional energy invested. It's you can go one way or the other, right? So, but I still think that you can learn a lot and make your homebrew a lot better as well as a result of going through the program.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that is the hardest thing, and then also getting the beer judges are some of the most popular people at our homebrew club meetings because the members be like, here, I got a beer for you, taste this, and all right, I'm getting something in here that I've never tasted my beer before. What is that? And you can help them make their beer better and just taste it live with them and give them honest feedback. It's really fun and collaborative.
You too could be asked, what do you think of every beer you're getting? Score on this beer.
Yeah.
And then make horrible enemies. And you tell them the truth or...
Depends on how many beers you've had at that point yourself. But yeah. Now,
it doesn't diminish the fun of the hobby either. You still get, enjoy it.
It makes it more fun because you're learning a lot more in depth when you brew and you don't really know what the results are and how to really know whether you made a great beer or not. It's kind of like just you're painting, but you don't ever look at the paintings or something. I don't know, but being able to kind of discern, like Oleg's saying, some of those flavor notes and have some idea of what you're doing. Maybe you still lie to yourself, but it really does help, and it helps adjust your brewing. It makes it a lot more fun because it's like race car driving, and you're getting that feedback. You're getting better at it. Because how it works.
Becoming a master of your craft. Those of you homebrewers who want to turn pro, too, you really should become a master of your craft before you do that. It's one way to do this. Now, Jamil, you once were the West regional rep for the BJCP. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. So I ask all three of you, Brian and Oleg, I'm going to assume you know what the job requires. I know Jamil does, at least back when he did it in the 40s or whenever that was. What does a BJCP regional rep do? What's your role? Jamil?
The rep.
Go ahead, Brian. We'll start with you.
Yeah. Okay. I printed it out.
There we go. Perfect.
So I could be accurate.
I love it. Yeah.
The regional representatives / board members are first of all responsible for supporting the membership in their region, providing access to BJCP services, and acting on requests from their region for services or information. I mean, people want to find out what it's about, or like, how can I get involved with judging? Can you hook me up with someone who's doing a class? Somebody beat me over the head at a homebrew competition, and I need a remedy for that. So random weird stuff like. Our current rep Travis has done a great job, and I've seen some of the situations he's had to deal with, and now since they've added in the last term, they've added assistant reps, which Oleg and I both are for our respective regions. We're able to support him, and he's like, "Oh my God, these guys are doing some crazy thing going on in Northern California. Brian, do you know these people?" Or like, "Oh yeah, I can help you out. I know that guy. I don't know the other guy, but
sure."
Kind of help sort things out and put a personal touch to it. So I think bringing on the regional reps, we have one in Hawaii, 3 in California, and then our main rep, Travis, who is not going to be the rep anymore. He's going to sip a lot of Mai Tais after June 1st.
Okay.
So you started doing that.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that retirement? Is that what's happening?
Yeah. Retirement from this.
We'll figure out a way to help us in the future too. I'm sure he's not going anywhere.
Yeah. 3-year term. So yeah. And he did 2 terms.
Yeah.
Jamil, did you do it for 3 years?
Yeah, I can't remember. I think I did 2 terms. That, and then I did the AHA governing committee for like 10 years or whatever it was. 10 years.
That was a long one. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I sort of remember doing it. In a lot of ways, it wasn't that different from what I was already doing. If somebody was interested in the BJCP, I would talk to them and help them try and become, part of the BJCP, which I think is incumbent on all members. If you're passionate about it, get your homebrewing friends involved in it too. I mean, we should all be doing that, right? And then, a lot of it was when people, and the program's grown a lot bigger. And so I'm sure there's a lot more of this now where people need help with, one issue or another. But I think, when I was part of it, one of the things that I held, most important and dear to me was helping, drive the direction of the BJCP, representing the people that I represented, making sure that their wishes, not the people that just voted for me, but everybody in the region their voice was being heard, to the hierarchy of the BJCP. And we were helping, shape what the BJCP would become and, improve the benefits for the membership, improve the benefits for, the beer community at large. So that was, I felt the most important thing was being that conduit between all the people in my region and, the actions that the BJCP took.
Okay. Got it. So Brian and Oleg, I guess, am I right in the assumption that since you're running and people elect you have to maybe have some sort of platform to run on other than just I'm a judge? And I don't know if that means you have things that you'd like to see changed or ways you'd like to help the BJCP progress. But I wanted to give you each an opportunity to talk about why you'd like to be the BJCP West Coast rep. And by the way, it occurs to me that we haven't even said what BJCP stands for during this entire broadcast. There might be some viewers out there wondering what the fuck we're talking about. The Beer Judge Certification Program. Forgive me, I'm not treating you like you're dumb. I just thought as a broadcaster, I should have done that 20 minutes ago. So, Oleg, why don't we start with you? Why would you like to be the Beer Judge Certification Program West rep?
So, my platform probably is not actually that different from Brian. So we're sort of not really running against each other. We're sort of running together, I think, on somewhat similar issues. I think my platform could be summarized as two main pillars. One is community, and the other one is education. So by community, I mean, having a vital homebrew environment where brewers can talk to each other, learn from each other, share their passion together. And I think that's something that we have in San Diego. I know in Bay Area, that's pretty strong too. But I think that in many other areas, we can duplicate some of these experiences and create it across the region and probably even across U.S. and the world. Mm-hmm. But building on top of that, I strongly believe that educating new judges and encouraging homebrewers to sort of step up and learn more about how to evaluate beer, what are the styles, what are the style guidelines, how to do this properly, and not being a dick about it, I think is a very important component. And I know that Brian is teaching BJCP 101 class, and I teach something very similar, BJCP 101 class here in San Diego. And I think that a lot of these can be duplicated again in many different ways. And I think that's sort of my passion is really building on those two criteria. And I'm a faculty at UCSD, so education is sort of my lifelong passion. So I would like to sort of apply many of the things that I've learned in my career to educating the next generation of judges.
Yeah. I like it. And I love honestly, I like you pointing out, just don't be a dick about it. We have one rule here at the Brewing Network, and every other rule, you just see this rule, which is don't be a dick. The beer it's not snobby, just because you know more than me or less. And so it's an important stance to me, actually, to teach and to help people become judges, and not from a place that I'm up here and you're here. I like that take.
Exactly.
Good
rule in general, right? Not just for the beer. just don't be a dick.
No, and that's in life. Absolutely. Yeah. That's a good rule to follow. Brian, what about you?
Yeah, like I said, from when I became a judge in 2008, I really enjoyed getting involved with the organization and the people in it. And it's one of the most welcoming communities that I've ever come across, besides, home brewers in general. I wanted to learn how to improve my brewing and learn how to, learn more about world beer styles. And I was welcomed. And, I want other people to feel the same welcome, in this organization if they want to become a judge, and, help them to find resources to meet their goals and, I've organized a lot of study groups over the years since that first one that Dave Technam helped us lead, and I kind of helped lead by teaching some of it and organizing teachers, and we just bring a lot of the same people back. I mean, the guy that's been teaching our water class comes back over and over, and he's a little dry, but he really knows water. And it's really a good in-depth knowledge, and just having watched people that have come to us in our homebrew club, the Mad Zymergists. We're just a little homebrew club up here in the East Bay area. When I see enough interest boil up, we do one of those courses, and we do a bunch of other things too. And Dr. Homebrew is kind of fun too. But I really we have the honor of welcoming another state into our region as well. Formerly it was just California and Hawaii, and now Nevada's coming in. So nice. I'm really excited about that. And when we used to organize the NHC regionals when they were held up in Lodi, a lot of people would come over from Reno, Tahoe, and from Sparks or where different parts of Nevada. They'd come across and help us judge. I met a lot of those people, and I revived conversations with them recently again because we're going to need to bring up some assistant reps over there. Right now there aren't any there, so they're in the Mountain Northwest region until the end of this month, and we're looking forward to welcoming them. I just want to listen to members with an open mind and have a kind of a can-do attitude about what we can do. And as the best ideas kind of bubble up, we'll discuss them with our group of assistant reps and, bring the best ones up to the board that we can see is actionable and something that could really benefit the organization. The organization is a little conservative, and it kind of limits itself in what it does. Like we certify judges, and we, if you're running a competition, you can get it. What's the word? Not certified, but
registered. Yeah.
Registered. Yeah. Sanctioned. That's the word.
Oh, sanctioned. Anyway.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So, and they kind of just do that, and they develop standards and the guidelines, which then they, in the preamble to it, tell you, don't use this as the Bible. We don't, know everything about beer, but we just do our best to categorize it and make sense of it and organize it in a way that makes sense to us. Mm-hmm. And I think it would be fun to be involved with that too, as the guidelines morph, from the 2015 into whatever's next. It would be fun to be involved with that and help it, guide it in a way that would make sense to me. That would be something I'd be interested in getting onto if there was an opportunity for that. So, it is an all volunteer organization, and the more you get into it and take on, the more and more responsibility you can have. So I have to be a little careful too, because I keep busy, and I know Oleg does as well, but Travis has been running it well for 6 years. And as his assistant rep for the last 3 years for Northern California, when I was nominated, I felt honored to step up and run for this. So happy to be doing it.
And I tell you, unlike our political system, where we have a wealth of good candidates in the BJCP. Any region you look at, they're great, solid people, smart, intelligent, hardworking people that are passionate about, furthering the organization and the hobby and, knowledge about beer. And so, the worst thing you can do is not vote, not get involved, because you really can't make a bad choice, especially here. Oleg and Brian, they're two great guys that are very smart and very passionate about this. So, choose what you want, but, make sure you get out there and vote and participate.
Yeah. And it sounds like a big job. You guys are taking on a lot of responsibility. I do want to say, Oleg, and I hate myself for this joke before I'm even saying it, but you're at a slight disadvantage. Americans and elections, they don't like Russian sounding names very much, and I'm worried about you. I wonder if we should change your name to like Greg Shapiro or something, Smith, something close.
I'm Ukrainian, but
I figured you weren't even Russian, but we're stupid. We don't know.
Russian. That's the joke.
That was offensive, Justin.
I know. Of course it was offensive.
Oh my God.
By the way,
I have a lot of Russian bots working on, rigging
the election already. Yeah. Oleg and Brian, highly qualified, both of you, obviously, but where do people go to vote? How do we do this?
So, you have to go to dev.bjcp.org. Then you have to click on, member services and elections, and then go to voting, something like that. But
Whichever one of you promises to make next year's link a simple link, that's who I'm voting for. Okay.
I think the website is a well-known issue, and I hope we will migrate to a better website in the near future.
Okay. Okay.
That's a goal for sure for all of us.
Well, a complex organization that's all volunteers, like Jamil said earlier, people like me don't get to complain about that if we're not helping out. So, but I can tell that you guys are ambitious. Just say one more time, Brian, where can people go to vote? And I assume you have to be a BJCP member already?
Yeah, you have to be a member to vote, and you have to be a member in the West region. So,
okay.
It's dev.bjcp.org. And that's their new website. They've been migrating from the old bjcp.org website. You won't find it on that one, but you'll find old election stuff, history and stuff. And it's kind of fun to read through some of that if you're, geek out on beer judging. But the new site, is the dev site. So.
Okay. And is there a deadline? Has voting started, and when does it stop?
Yeah, it goes through the 29th.
Okay.
It started a couple of days ago.
Just a couple of days ago. All right. So you got to the 29th to go out and vote for your West rep, and I highly recommend you do so, although it doesn't sound like you BJCP members are going to get a bad rep either way. But go vote based on what you've heard today or what you know about these guys. And I wish you both luck, and I thank you for what you do for beer and for beer judging. I appreciate that.
Well, thanks to you and Jamil for hosting us, and enjoyed the little segment with Gary Glass from the AHA. It was good to see him again. I know he's going through some challenges in this time, and all these organizations are going to have to struggle, and we're going to have some work cut out for us. We can't really hold competitions right now, unless you do them really distanced, I suppose. And there's exams. There's a lot of questions right now, but we're going to sort them out, and
And again, to all home brewers who are sitting at home right now, join BJCP. This is your time to study, take the online test, register for tasting exam, learn about the guidelines. This is the best time to do it.
Yeah.
What do you got to lose? Give it a shot. The basic thing, now is online, and it's, essentially multiple choice online. It makes it really easy to get started. And if you want to advance, sure, you have to take the dreaded long 3-hour exam thing that gives you hand cramps and all that, nervous stomach. But, just to get started is real simple. And, you can become part of the program pretty quick and easy.
I think we could even teach Justin how to do it.
Oh, no, please. Come on.
Jamil used to say that. Then he got to know him, and he's like, no, Justin was right. It's impossible.
Well, BJCP does have some standards, though, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, we got some standards. Come on.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, I thank you both. I've got a few questions for Jamil. The two of you, Brian and Oleg, are more than welcome to stay on if you like, or you can hang up. It's entirely up to you. But I have enjoyed speaking with both of you, and I do wish you luck.
Thank you. I'm going to listen on Facebook.
Okay.
Thanks a lot for hosting us.
Thanks, Oleg. Take care. Good luck.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. So,
I don't have anywhere else important to be.
Hang out with us, Brian, if you want. It's up to you.
I might hang out.
Yeah. So, I did have a question come in from the chat, but I thought of something today, Jamil, about you, and it drives me crazy, JZ, because you're just always fucking right, and it's annoying sometimes. So I saw you back in, I want to say January, February. When was the very first case in Sonoma? What month was that of COVID?
February, I think. Yeah.
Okay. So I came to the brewery to grab some beer, and you were wearing a mask because you were feeling ill. And just like the day before, or 2 days before, they had mentioned our first case, right? Like our first, and none of us gave a shit at that time. None of us thought anything was going to happen. And you said to me, you watch, this thing is going to rip through here. And I was like, Jamil, one person has it, and she's already in the hospital, and you were already wearing a mask, Jamil, not to protect us from you because you had a sore throat or something, and you called it back then when one case, and you said, you watch, Justin, it's going to rip through here. Right again. Damn it.
There you go.
How do you know these things, man?
Well, I'd like to say
you sold your soul, didn't you?
I read a lot of international news. You know, that's where you find out all these things are tearing up somewhere else, and you're like, well, that's going to happen here too. There's no way of stopping these things now that we have air travel.
Yeah,
people come. It's just the way it is. It's we're more connected than people want to think. This is one world. You may live in a country, but you need to accept the fact that we're all intertwined. And it's like the environment. The environment goes south. It goes south for all of us, not just one country, not one state, not one city. It goes south for the entire planet. And same thing for these viruses.
Yeah. Well, you were right, and as usual. And believe it or not, I listen to everything you say. I have for a long time. But back then, I still was like, no. I was about to leave the country for New Zealand to go to Hop Harvest. My beer festival was still planned for March. So I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. My beer festival is happening. 2 weeks later, the city calls me. They're like, yeah, your beer fest is not happening. Nothing is happening. And it was ripping through here, And then just because I'm showering you with praise, I've used this piece of advice. Well, I use this piece of advice all the time, and I've started handing it out to others now too. Now that I'm almost an elder, or I am an elder or something. And you said to me one time, we were sitting in my studio. I think I've said this on the air before. I was complaining about something at the Brewing Network, and you said, Justin, everything that's wrong with your company is your fault. And I was pissed. Yep. I was at my first reaction was like, what? I'm telling you about this person who didn't do this and didn't do that. And you said, yeah, no, that's what I'm talking about. Did you give them what they needed to do that? Did you plan appropriately where you're, and it sunk in very quickly, and it's actually become a business philosophy of mine. I use it during crisis, like now, during COVID. I don't blame everything on COVID. I still listen to that quote in my head. Everything that's wrong with my business is my fault. Was I prepared enough? Did I take care of my staff enough? Did I? And I don't see it as a negative piece of advice anymore, like I did for that split second when you said it to me. To me, it's a very positive and empowering piece of advice to do better all the time. I just wanted to give you that.
You should do a seminar that maybe I could get my wife to watch. Yeah.
It's the Boy Scouts motto: do your best.
Yeah. I've never really have believed in passing the buck anyway, but you just in one sentence really cut to the chase, and I use it all the time, especially during times of crisis. So yeah, you're a smart guy, JZ, always.
Yeah, when I'm giving advice to other people.
Yeah. The rest of the time, you're kind of a dick.
Fault, please.
Yeah. I did have a question come through for you, Jamil, from Julian Schrago, actually.
Julian.
He must be watching. This might be a tough question, but he wants to know, in your opinion, which American brewery has brewed the most influential beer? It's kind of a tough one, isn't it?
Well, if you had asked me, a few years ago before the whole haze thing, I would have said maybe somebody like Russian River, where Vinny, really started the whole West Coast IPA thing and taught all of us to brew West Coast IPAs, proper West Coast IPAs. If you were asking me maybe, 10 years before that, maybe it would be somebody like, Sierra Nevada. But today with, hazy being something huge and really, taking over the market, maybe it's somebody like, JC at Trillium or, Treehouse or one of those breweries. Boy, the most influential brewery today.
I think they might be playing Stump the Brewer with you, Jamil.
I mean,
tough question.
Beechwood should be in there in the conversation for sure.
I agree with you.
There you go. Heretic, maybe, no. I think, that's a really tough question.
It is. Yeah.
But I'd be curious what Julian thought.
Yeah.
What his answer to the question would be, because I'm sure he did not ask the question without already having an answer for it.
True. And he also came up like you as a home brewer, as a very skilled home brewer before turning pro, and took that right into his profession. So he certainly had influences, is why I bring that up, Well,
and and the answer may have been, at some point, it may have been something like Stone, where Stone was doing a lot of great stuff.
Before others.
Julian and I did a collab at Stone some years ago. Yeah, I don't know. I'd be curious what Julian thinks.
Yeah.
I don't. The only breweries I really hear about are the ones that really have, made a serious name for themselves. And, so I'll stick with my answer for the various, decades.
Yep, I like it. That works. By the way, Julian, if you're still watching, I'm selling a lot of your Beechwood here at the Hop Grenade. People love it. We almost always have Citraholic and Amalgamator here. And if people come in and ask me for a good West Coast IPA, obvious choice right there. Beechwood every time.
Doesn't sell Heretic, but Beechwood, sure. Yeah.
We got to talk about that. That is, I can't say it's not my fault, because everything in my business is my fault. But I've been trying to get your beer, JZ. We'll talk about this. Mm-hmm. We'll talk about it.
We have a new distributor.
Oh, well, that might help. Okay. Then I can say that. I've been having trouble with your distributor getting beer.
Yes.
Can you get his hand sanitizer, though?
Are you guys still making hand sanitizer for the medical professionals around you?
We are. Yeah.
For the frontline workers, I should say.
Yeah. We've been struggling to get the raw ingredients, but we should be getting a massive amount tomorrow and be able to continue cranking out 5-gallon buckets. We're trying to do more, frontline and emergency responder and, that sort of thing, because one, we don't want to make any money at it, which sounds stupid, but, because I don't think we should be profiteering off the pandemic. It's fine for us to make money off of our beer, but something that we're just doing for this situation, I don't want to make money off of. I really don't. I'd feel bad. So, we're trying to do it in, buckets to go out to hospitals and, fire stations, police stations, things like that. It's going out to some other local businesses that are opening up. My friend Jason at True Symmetry, he's, concerned because they're going to open up and then they need hand sanitizer. So I'm going to get him a 5-gallon bucket. So
nice.
And I won't say we're not taking anything from this. What we are taking away from it is a really great feeling that we're doing something to help. Anytime, and I know you feel this, when things go wrong and when people are suffering, you want to jump in and help. Mm-hmm. I think that all of us have that, or the vast majority of us as human beings feel like when you see something going wrong for somebody, you're just like, well, what can I do to help? How can I, sometimes it's too scary and you need to run away when the building's falling down. But, the majority of us want to do something to chip in. Mm-hmm. And this is our way of contributing to, a solution to the problem.
Yeah.
And so that in and of itself has made us feel really good about, our position in the community and what we've done. We can look back on this and say, yeah, we actually did something to help. We didn't just worry about making money and, selling beer. And no, we actually did something. We changed our business. We stopped doing what we could do to distilling to earn money and changed it over to distilling to make sanitizer, which we were making no money off of. Mm-hmm. But
It's just good karma. You're going to get the opposite kind of karma of those guys that bought truckloads of hand sani and hoarded it and sold it for outrageous prices. You get the opposite kind of karma for that, buddy.
That's right.
That would be nice, but it's not important. Like I said, we're getting the good feeling of we actually we helped, or we tried to help, and we think we helped. We got a great thing from the U.S. Postal Service, and the guy was like, "You guys are heroes. You're not heretics. You're heroes."
Wow. And
I'm like, one, I hate it when people use the word hero when people don't do heroic things. So we're not heroes, but it was just really nice that, people are, they're so desperate for something to protect themselves when they are required to go out and do these jobs, and it's a lifeline to people, the U.S. Postal Service.
Well, and whatever the verbiage, you agree or disagree with, his sentiment was what you're doing is important. What you're doing is very important.
It's important.
And that's, and that's awesome.
It's very, very kind. And that's all we wanted to do. And we don't need anything for it. It's just, my point was, we got the feeling of, hey, we could do something to help, and that was great. A great thing in a time when people were unsure and a little scared, to be able to, have that good feeling.
Yeah. Very cool. And well said. Julian he is still viewing and did answer back about what he thinks the most influential the beer is. He says he wrestles between New Albion and Sierra Nevada, but he said, "I love you guys and thanks." But so he's going all the way back to kind of the birth of craft beer in America, New Albion. And then, of course,
New Albion, Sierra Nevada, maybe even Anchor.
Anchor's in there. Yep.
Yeah.
Anchor's in there with New Albion in terms of the early days, right? So
right.
Yeah.
Well, I thought he was asking the most influential today.
Now, yeah. Well, he didn't specify, or I read it wrong. I don't know.
All right.
Neither of you are wrong, in my opinion. So.
This would be a long conversation if we talk about throughout history. Who was the most in the 80s and the 90s and the aughts and that?
Well, in most of the decades, it's actually Sierra Nevada, to be honest. So most of the decades are fairly easy. It's Ken, and then we get to Jamil's list,
Right.
So.
Influential, changing the way people brewed that were already brewing. Russian River's got to be a big part of that, especially here on the West Coast.
Yeah.
Throughout the world.
Agreed. Well, gentlemen, that's about the time that we have for today. And I want to, Jay-Z, thanks for being my co-host today. I appreciate that.
Sure.
It's fun to have you on.
See you and spend time with you, brother.
Yeah, man. It's fun to have you back on with me. And I don't like doing these things alone, so I was really happy that you agreed to come on and do this with me. And
anytime.
Thank you.
And it was our homebrew club that he visited last week. So the Madsneimer just had a special guest. They loved it. They asked him a lot of good questions, and they just so next month I'm just like, the world is our oyster. What do you guys want to do? So I'm coordinating with the officers. Like, we're going to bring in Denny Kahn next meeting.
Nice.
He's got nothing better to do that Thursday night, so he's going to come on and chat with us. And he's getting ready for Homebrew Con and his presentation. He's like, oh yeah, don't remind me.
Yeah.
But, we're looking forward to, there's been some positive in this time. There's a lot of negative, but people that are doing what they can to help others. And if your neighbor needs a roll of toilet paper, toss it over the fence.
That's right.
Just do what you can to help. And Jamil's doing that. Justin, you're keeping people's spirits up by keeping this thing going and keeping good beer flowing out of the hop grenade there, and keep it up, keep your chin up.
I will do. Thank you so much. And while we're at it, I do want to give a shout out to the Arizona Society of Homebrewers, because I got to do a meeting with them on Tuesday, and I had a lot of fun. And I wanted to thank you all again for having me. So I appreciate that. Thanks to all you viewers and listeners out there for tuning in. As I keep saying, I'll try to keep these coming to you so that we can keep, finding community during this. And I say the word commiserate sometimes, but it's more just to get together and feel that we're not alone in this. I think that every time I'm on one of these interviews, I realize how alike we are in dealing with these things and thinking about these things. And that's why I wanted to do these series of shows. So thanks for viewing and sticking with us. You'll find this in our podcast feed as well. I've been putting them there. I just put our Russian River talk up on the podcast feed, and I've got a Rare Barrel one in the pipeline, and then tonight's will happen too. So thanks for tuning in. Thank you again, Jamil and Brian, and we'll see you all next time here on the Brewing Network. Cheers.
Cheers.